with event season coming up for summer and slash spring, I figured I'd make a video on how to prepare events with my good buddy YugiBot here.
Hello.
So we're just gonna get right into the video on how to prepare for events. So we listed some good tips for you guys to take to heart when you go into events like these, so that you guys some sort of baseline to understand if you guys haven't gone to events before. So without any further introduction, let's just get right into the video. What is up, boys and girls? Creeposaur from Creeposaur Inc. here, and today I'm here to do a how to prepare for events tip video kind of thing with my good buddy YugiBot, as I introduced him in the beginning of the video. So let's just get right into it, because this is some good information for people who haven't gone to events, or just some people who want some good tips to know for when they're going into events and they just want to get enlightened.
It's general information for everyone.
Pretty much. So first off we got is know the meta. So be aware of what's in the meta, as to know what to play and how to handle the decks in it and what to side. So I'll let YugiBot take it here and then I'll come back.
Yes, the meta changes all the time. It's never going to be stationary. Because remember, it's like last year it was Cosmo, a few months before that was Necroz, now it's Zoo. You always got to know what the meta is and how to counter it, just so you know what deck to play and what to side, in your side deck especially.
Yeah, it's really important for you guys to keep up with the meta, so that you know, again, what to side and how to handle the matchup, because knowing what's in the meta will give you an inherently better, ability to go up against these decks, like Paleo, Infernoid, and Zoo, and, Eidolon even. So having this ability to know what's in, or Invoke I should say, to know how to play against them and when to side and what, and, just knowing the meta will give you an inherently better matchup in the rounds, so that as the rounds go by, you can find out what to do against those matchups, so that you can put yourself ahead and potentially win the game.
Yes.
So next up we got is have the deck list. I know a lot of players don't really think about this, but fill out the Konami deck list prior to the event, as to save time at the event and easily make changes if necessary. So a lot of players overlook making the deck list. A lot of players go there and fill it out by hand. But the problem with that is that it takes up a lot of time. You guys don't really think about it, but it does. It takes up about, tops like 20 minutes, 25 minutes to fill out all of that by hand, to make sure that all the names are written down right, because there are a lot of stickler judges that are around that do that. You want to make sure that they can read it. You want to make sure that you have every single card on there, that you didn't miscount. So typing it up, a good while beforehand will give you time when you get there to make changes if necessary, and it will give you time to deliberate with your friends if they also need help. And even if you had the deck list beforehand, you can make sure that everything is in there again beforehand, and it will go by a lot faster. So let's let YugiBot have his 2 cents here, and then we'll move on.
Can I say one thing?
What?
Yeah, what is it?
Never abbreviate. Never just put like bottomless. Never put like MST. Like people do it unconsciously. Never do that.
Right, you gotta dot every I, cross every T. As
every underline comma, just spell it exactly.
There are stickler judges
who are bitches.
Yeah, because I went to an event and they gave someone a game loss because they abbreviated a lot of the cards, and they had to go back and fix them. They gave him a whole new deck list that he had to fill out, and they gave him a round 1 game loss because he wouldn't have made the time to fill it out.
Jeez.
That's my one thing.
Oh yeah, Game Builder is here too, or Lucas, whatever you guys call him. I'm just kind of chilling.
I mean, if he ever wants to add his 2 cents to clear out, I mean, I'd welcome him.
Yep.
No, I monologue too much.
This is true.
That is also true.
So next up we got is playtest. This is probably one of the most important things on this little list we got here. So take time to study your deck, its capabilities, and what matchups to prepare for. So since I took the lead on the last one, I'll let YugiBot take the lead on this one.
Right. Knowing your deck is probably the best thing and most important thing about knowing your deck. You must know every single combo, every single strategy. You must look at every single hand that you get, just so you are prepared for whatever comes your way in a duel. You must know, oh, I have this % chance of getting this card, just because knowing is half the battle.
Yeah, so playtesting is a really big part for preparing for events. definitely knowing what percent in cards you're going to get. Obviously, people aren't really going to go and do the math for it and stuff like that. But knowing, like, generally what your odds are of drawing this hand or drawing another hand or drawing cards in your hand, definitely playtesting will allow you to know what hands are bad hands, good hands, and how to even play the bad hands to put yourself in a better standing even when you do get those bad hands, so that you can, you know, potentially play off the draw so that you can try and push through your bad hand and beat your opponent. So if you guys haven't really learned or have seen our last video about stuff like this, we have a deck building video. Definitely go check that out. It'll help you out even in this video, because playtesting was, I believe, on there too.
Yes, because if you playtest before the tournament, before you even made your deck list, and you realize, oh, this specific card doesn't really work with my deck, I should probably swap it out with something. Well, since you either did make the deck list beforehand, or you just have extra copies, so you make a new one right after you playtest. It can really help you just, again, save time.
And it'll allow you to, if you play online, that'll give you an inherently better, because you'll have more odds of facing, you know, the meta decks and stuff like that, because not everyone's friends has all the meta decks and stuff like that, or other decks around, so you won't have a wide variation of decks that you'll be able to play against. So playing online is probably one of the best options that you have. But playing in real life and playing in line are two different things, because when you play on, like, Yu-Gi-Oh! Pro, it's all automated, and it will obviously give you the, oh, do you want to chain this, which doesn't happen in real life. So playing in real life and online are probably two of your obviously best ways of, you know, learning how your deck works and learning how to play against other decks.
Right, and just remember, playing against yourself or an AI is not versing a meta deck. Just because they have the cards, the AI, or you playing yourself, just essentially means that you can give yourself an advantage. You want a fair fight, so you want to go against an actual opponent.
Yeah, you want a realistic battle, so that you can know what's going to happen, like what different scenarios can play out, so that you can also, you know, play the right cards. And going into that, you know, playing the right cards also goes into getting some rest. I know that sounds kind of weird, but getting some rest is definitely, because going to these events can be grueling, so getting some rest the night before will definitely help you out throughout the day. So, you know, if you can make the right decisions by getting some rest, you know, before, because if you're tired going into the event, it'll make you make decisions that you don't want to make.
You become lazy.
Yeah, you become lazy. You miss a play that you could have potentially made, which could potentially cost you the game. And, you know, losing, you know, a lot of people don't like losing. So being prepared beforehand and being well rested and being ready for the day that you're going to have is going to put you ahead a lot of some players. So a lot of players do go there tired and make a lot of misplays. And you can take advantage of that by getting some rest and making sure you make the right decisions going forward.
Right. If you play your cards right, you could essentially get into the top 32 or better.
Yeah, because, you know, if you get in the top 32 at a regional, you get your nationals invite, and then you can go on from there. And if you get to nationals, a lot of players there have really good, probably have multitudes of decks that they could lend you. So even if you meet some new people there, they'll probably, you know, if they have an extra meta deck, they'll let you borrow it. I know I have some friends at my locals that wanted to let me borrow, like, their Zoo deck or something like that going there, but I didn't want to play Zoo. The last regional I went to, I wanted to try out my Mermail deck, so I had a really good time doing that, except for when Lucas came over and ruined it. But anyway,
I went next to him and said hi.
it was very spooky. Anyway, next up we got stay focused. So in these events, paying attention to the game state is the defining factor between a win and a loss. Paying attention to the game and knowing when to stop or allow certain effects will definitely put you ahead. So I'll let Charlie or not GameBot, YugiBot take the lead on this.
Yo.
Old gamer tags are...
This is directly affected by getting sleep. When in a duel, playtesting, or in a tournament or whatever, you must be ruthless. You cannot let them get anything through you. If they make a mistake, they're lost. You have to rule shark. I'm sorry, but if you do want to prepare and if you do want to win, you can't be nice.
And again, going back to our deck building, you know, video, you know, doing some research is definitely something that you want to do, because knowing what the deck can potentially put out by activating this card or another card like A or B, whatever card they play, knowing which one to stop can obviously put you way ahead, because if you do your research, you'll know when to rule shark, you know what I mean? You'll know when to stop that, you know, this card, so that you can, next turn, when it's your turn, you'll know that you can just push through, or you'll know what you'll have to push through.
Right.
So definitely staying focused is really important. You don't want to just not read the cards. You want to read the cards that they're playing, because that's a big mistake that a lot of players make, that they don't read the cards that your opponent is playing. And if you're not reading the cards, they can just do whatever they want potentially, and you won't really know what's happening. You'll obviously know, they can only normal summon once and stuff like that. Just rules that everyone should know. Definitely another thing, you should obviously know the rules of the game before going to these kinds of events. So make sure you brush up on your rulings beforehand.
This can especially affect me because I was versing against Herald, and I could have stopped the entire deck if I just stopped one spell and trap card, the field spell.
Yep.
But due to me not being focused, I didn't realize, hey, you can just get all of his crap with it. So I let it through, and because of that, he was able to get the Herald on the field, and I lost.
Yeah. So this is probably, again, a lot of this stuff in here is really important, so that's why we're making this video. We wanted to put this information out for players who are preparing for events, who've never gone to events, or just veteran players who are looking for some tips for future events that they're just trying to get better at the game. So next up we got is decision making. Again, this goes with staying focused and just a lot of the other things that we said before. So think about the possibilities the hand you have can output before making a move. Misplaying can seriously put you behind in the game and potentially cost you the game. So again, I'll let Yugibot take the lead for this one. Again, he's had some more variation between matchups than I have.
Can I say one thing? Just going
Let's
back
hear
to
it.
before.
Let's hear
On the read the cards, another good thing to do. Like, people will say, "Oh, I hate this deck. I hate this deck. I hate this deck." Play the deck. You play the deck. You learn it. You know its weaknesses. If all you ever do is play against the deck, you're not going to know it as well as you would if you played it. Even if it's only online, it's good to get a feel for it.
Yeah, definitely. It's again with playtesting, going and testing against the deck. Play the deck that you know is a bad matchup for you, so that you know how to stop it.
I even play that deck. Play it against your deck. Know both sides.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, continuing on with decision making, your opening hand is, of course, your best hand. Unless, of course, you're top decking forever, you need to know what plays you can make, again, with playtesting. But also, you need to know, with decision making, if your opponent has any set traps or spells, you need to know what to hit.
Yeah, so especially with the deck that I'm playing, which I finally got back, my Mermail deck, decision making is a big game changer for me, because if I, instead of searching Nept Abyss, I search Deep Sea Diva, I can potentially get striked off of a Diva and not get its effect off. So if I see a lot of back row and I search Nept Abyss, that'll put me ahead, because when I do normal summon it, I will still get its effect off because it's cost. So deciding whether a card to add, or deciding which cards, if you want to normal summon or special summon first, or if you want to activate this spell card first, will definitely determine, if you'll get striked, or if someone will activate D-Barrier, or what you'll have to play through in terms of monster spells, traps. Deciding which card you want to do and how you're going to output, the next card that you're going to activate, and whatever comes next will determine just how you're going to play out the rest of the game. Because if you misplay, one misplay can really screw you up. And I know there are decks that can really play through misplaying and stuff like that, but if you can not misplay and make sure that you are putting out the best possible board that you can, so that you're not wasting your resources, you're putting out the best board possible, you're going to be ahead of your opponent. Because sometimes, other opponents haven't prepared as well, and they won't put out, the best board that they can, because they just weren't making the same decisions that you would have if you were playing that deck, or if you went through the same decision-making process.
Right. Also, as a general rule, if they have back row, I'm just going to say this, always assume that it's going to be a dimensional barrier or a solemn strike.
Or solemn, or something that's broken.
Any of the solemns or dimensional barrier. You need
one of the
to
two.
prepare
Or
for it.
play
Always
it as
have
if they have a decent sized hand, or they have a 3-card hand, you know what I mean? Always think that they have either an effect barrier or a ghost ogre. I've learned to deal with that in this game at this point. It's going to be the back row's either going to be a strike, D-barrier, or they're going to have a ghost ogre or maxi in hand.
Right. You should always, again,
play as if that they have those things to stop you.
Right.
I mean, don't play too careful, because that can again make you misplay. But play cautiously. You don't want to you don't want to overdo it, but you want to make sure that you're making the right plays.
Always assume that their back row or hand can disrupt you, so you can try to play around.
And if you can preemptively destroy the back row, then do it.
Right. Just prepare.
Players have good cards, and you don't want to use them. You don't want to let them use those good cards.
Right.
So next up we got is the last one that we got on here. Obviously there are a plethora of other just tips that we could have gone through, but it would have taken forever on the video. So the last one we got is be wary of the time. This is definitely a factor some players do forget about, so be cognizant of the time and how the game is playing out as to determine whether you will be going into time or not, which can have a major effect on how you will have to play if you go into time. So time is a big factor to some decks. Some decks try to play their best through time, but time is something that a lot of players just push to the back of their mind because they try to beat their opponent before that even gets to that point. But time is something that some players will draw it out to that, but when you get into time, you only have a limited amount of time to beat your opponent. So you want to make sure that you're being cognizant of the time and how you're going to play out your deck so that you can either win before time comes around, or if your deck is a little bit slower but can push through a lot of stuff like back row and hand traps, that you can, if you go into time, you know how you're going to play it out in time, that you can prepare yourself beforehand if you go into time and know how to play around what your opponent's going to do in those scenarios, because it definitely changes how the players are going to be playing, because they're obviously going to play more defensively, try and save their life points, so that you try to save the resources and try and hit you for more damage so that they can win when that last turn comes around.
And if for some reason you have that one card in your extra deck that you never really read all the way, but it gives you like 300 life points, there you go.
Number 49, Fortune Tune.
Because that
think that's-
300 life points could save your entire game.
Or how much, I don't remember how Fortune Tune, but
500, I believe.
yeah, 500, something like that. But cards like Fortune Tune that are like very defensive cards that can give you life points so that your opponent will have
You
to
never
attack it
lose-
like 3 times.
Or Red Eye's Flare.
Red Eye's
which
Flare is
deals-
amazing because your opponent obviously is going to try and use what they can to beat you in time. So making them, regret activating those effects or be punished for activating those effects in time is going to be a big factor on how they'll just play out. If they know that you have Red Eyes, they might just scoop right in there, right then and there. Burn cards, like obviously Red Eyes and other stuff are like Red Eyes, are very good cards
Ukazi.
for time.
Health Life.
Anything that can really burn, or anything that can stall your opponent out by you just putting out big defensive boards, or just a lot of traps, especially like Paleo has a really good matchup in time just because everything in their deck is a trap and all of their traps have really good effects. Along with that, they can make Toad, and their Xyz monsters are just pretty hard to get rid of unless you use a Kaiju.
Right.
So, unless either of you guys have anything else to say on the subject, yes, no?
Of time?
Of just
well, I
the,
do
just
know-
the preparing for events.
Huh.
Yes, no?
Just always, also, just another thing combined with sleep, eat.
Yeah,
If you're
eating-
on a stomach, you're going to be on an empty mind, and that also affects your decision making.
Yeah, so throughout
Pretty
the
much
day, most events will probably provide water, definitely, because it gets hot in there, because there's going to be a lot of people in there. Also, preparing for events, make sure that you have your stuff protected. Obviously, bring a bag that you know that you can keep an eye of. Don't carry too much on you. Just carry your binder, your deck box, and your playmat, and, your dice and your calculator or whatever. Don't carry too much, because obviously that'll attract people to try and take your stuff. Along with
Because
the
there's a
fact
lot of people.
there's a lot of people there, so you obviously want to have a bag that isn't like
There's
too
a lot
heavy,
of
too much stuff in it, and you also want to be to easily keep track of your stuff. So if there's anything else, definitely leave it in the comment section below, because that'll obviously not only help us out, but definitely help out other players who do check out this video, because this is to help out the community, and helping out the community is something that we really want to do here. So on that note, thank you so much for watching this video, guys.
Oh, bring nose plugs. Those places reek. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, it's sweaty people, because people don't know how to clean themselves properly. So, deodorant, guys. Deodorant.
Yeah.
Pretty much any advice your teacher's ever given you about a test. Eat a good breakfast, get lots of sleep.
Pretty much.
Believe it or not, it's actually true. Except, why apply it in school when you can apply it with something that matters? Like Yu-Gi-Oh!
Yeah, so
Children's Credit.
if you guys like the video, definitely hit that like button as hard as you can for some more awesome Yu-Gi-Oh content, and subscribe for more content like this and all other Yu-Gi-Oh content that we put out. And as always, guys, I hope you enjoyed, and we'll catch you guys in the next one.
Don't forget Aqua Actress.
No, no.